What up, Long Beach? Welcome back to your home for everything local sports. It's JJ.
And Mike, and this video is brought to you by Naples Rib Company, the perfect place to cater your team's next event.
Do you remember the scene in Richard Licklider's Dazed and Confused, where the teacher, right before the last day of school, says, remember, when you're out there celebrating the bicentennial, keep in mind that the reason you're celebrating is because a bunch of rich white guys didn't want to pay their taxes. I feel like this is the moment with the protests during the national anthem in the NFL and just protests worldwide. I feel like this is the perfect time where we need that why we're doing what we're doing moment, because this all started with a backup quarterback in San Francisco who sat on the bench for multiple national anthems before anybody noticed, and then he discussed it, the sitting on the bench and the protesting, with local military veterans who told him that taking a knee was much more respectful than sitting on the bench. Flash forward, now everybody's protesting the flag?
There's obviously no bigger story in sports than what's been going on in the NFL for the last week and between the NFL and the NBA and the president. Whether we wanted to be or not, the Long Beach sports world has been drawn into this because every single NFL team took part in some kind of demonstration or protest last Sunday, whether that was against racial injustice, against the president's comments, or whatever. Every single one did. We had a chance to talk to several of the Long Beach players who were involved in those things, but literally everyone, whether it was Jarrell Casey and Jayon Brown with the Titans who didn't come out of the locker room, Juju Smith-Schuster at the Steelers who didn't come out of the locker room, Mercedes Lewis with the Jaguars who linked arms with the owner of the Jaguars and the other players in London. It obviously affected everybody in a different way.
You're absolutely right. This affects all of us, man. No matter what side you fall on, it's an issue, and it's an issue that needs to be addressed. I do not want to hear about a high school coach saying, oh, we're not worried about that distraction, or we keep distractions out of our locker room, or we're not discussing that. This is the time in which you teach, high school coach. This is the time in which our country gets healthier. When things come up and they're issues, you have to deal with them. There is no hiding from life. This is life, and this is the perfect time to teach young kids how to deal with life. And what better city than Long Beach that's so diverse?
Last year, the Poly football team took a knee during the national anthem. Many members of the team, a lot of people criticized that. I really liked what their head coach, Antonio Pierce, had to say, which is, as long as people are educated about the issues and they understand what they're talking about, I have no problem with kids protesting or expressing themselves in any way they want to. But after he saw how many of his players took a knee, he had a discussion with them about why they did that and the way they felt. That, to me, is a great example of good high school coaching, that you're not just saying, pretend this stuff doesn't matter because the only thing that matters is football, which is not necessarily a great way to go through your life. It was, let's get together and make sure this isn't just something you're doing for retweets and likes on social media, but really something that you're educated about. The other thing that I would point out, and I think I'm speaking for both JJ and I when I say this, one thing that I would like it if we could all agree about is there's no need to say stick to sports. I think that is such a nonsense opinion to have when people say, well, I'd like to just turn on my TV and not think about anything else. You write me a biography of Jackie Robinson or a game article about Jackie Robinson that sticks to sports, and I will show you why you are writing an article or a biography that no one's going to have any interest in. The fact of the matter is this stuff has a bigger importance than what's happening between the lines, and that's why we care about it. You don't go to a Polly Wilson football game because 11 people over here and 11 people over here are playing football against each other. You go because of the tradition of that game, because of the history, because of what those schools mean to you, because they represent the city. There's going to be the superintendent of the school district flipping the coin this year for that reason. I just think it's a silly thing to pretend that you can separate anything from anything else, especially now that athletes can comment on whatever they want at any time on social media. Everything's connected. Sports is a big part of that, which is good. To me, it's a good place to have everything be connected to, not bad. And so, don't come at us on Twitter and say, well, why aren't you only writing about sports? Well, look, we're writing about Long Beach athletes who are speaking up about an issue that clearly means something to them. And that's what covering sports is, whether you like it or not.
Congratulations to Colin Kaepernick. His protest worked. What we do now will decide whether or not it was worth it.
We'd like to thank all of our sponsors, including Papalucci's, a great place to eat down on 2nd Street. I'm sure this won't be the last time we or you or all of us are talking about this issue, and in our opinion, that's a good thing. To stay a part of the conversation, find out what's going on in Long Beach sports and everywhere else, you got to keep it right here.